In the early 1920s, in the heart of Oklahoma, a remarkable story unfolded. It was a time when the Osage Nation, a proud Native American community, discovered a hidden treasure beneath their ancestral lands: black gold, oil. Little did they know, this discovery would forever change their lives. The Osage people were granted a special gift known as headrights. These were like golden tickets that entitled them to a share of the riches flowing from the oil wells on their land. These headrights were cherished and passed down through generations, providing a stable source of wealth. But as the Osage's fortune grew, so did the shadows of greed and envy. A dark cloud loomed over their newfound prosperity, and a series of sinister events unfolded. Mysterious deaths and murders plagued the Osage community, in a harrowing chapter known as the Osage Indian Murder Investigation. This tale serves as a poignant reminder of the resilience of the Osage people in the face of adversity, and a testament to the power of justice and community. Today, we remember this chapter in history as a lesson in both the triumphs and tragedies that have shaped our nation. It is a story of strength, unity, and the enduring spirit of the Osage Nation. In the midst of this tumultuous period was Anna Brown, a young and vibrant Osage woman. In her prime, Anna fell inexplicably ill, displaying symptoms that baffled the local doctors. At first, her condition was attributed to a nervous disorder. Yet, as the days passed, it became painfully evident that Anna had been a victim of foul play. The signs pointed to poison as the cause of her sudden demise. Anna Brown's death sent shockwaves through the Osage community. Fear and suspicion gripped the hearts of her people. If one of their own could fall victim to such a sinister plot, no one felt safe. It was clear that something sinister was afoot, a shadowy conspiracy that reached into the very heart of Osage society. As the community grappled with Anna's tragic loss, attention turned to several key figures who would emerge as suspects in her murder and the broader reign of terror. Among them were Ernest Burkhart, Anna's husband, and his uncle, William K. Hale. Ernest's cousin, Henry Roan, and others like Charles Whitehorn, also came under scrutiny. Let's embarking on a journey to get to know each of these individuals and understand how they were connected to the tragic case of Anna Brown's murder. Molly Burkhart was a member of the wealthy Osage Nation. She was born around 1886. She married Ernest Burkhart, a white man, further increasing her family's wealth, but also making them a prime target. Tragedy struck when her sister, Anna Brown, was brutally murdered during the Osage Indian Murder Investigation, setting off a series of mysterious deaths within her family. Rita Smith, like Molly, was an Osage Native American woman living during the turbulent 1920s. She was born around 1906. She, too, became a victim of the chilling string of murders, part of a sinister conspiracy to seize control of the Osage oil wealth. Her murder, along with others, was investigated as part of the Osage Indian Murder Investigation, which aimed to bring the perpetrators to justice. Minnie Smith, another unfortunate member of the Osage Nation, was one of Molly Burkhart's sisters. She was born around 1889. Her life was also tragically cut short by murder, becoming another victim of this horrifying conspiracy. Just like the deaths of Molly's family members, Minnie's murder was linked to a larger plot to gain control over the Osage oil wealth. Henry Roan was a close relative of Molly Burkhart. This familial connection would ultimately lead to his untimely and mysterious demise. He was murdered on September 20, 1923. Henry Roan's murder sent shockwaves through the Osage community, deepening suspicion and fear. It was becoming increasingly clear that the reign of terror was not random but part of a calculated effort to control the Osage headrights and the wealth they represented. Ernest's connection to the terror gripping the Osage community began with his marriage to Molly Burkhart. This union, on the surface, seemed like a loving partnership, but it would prove to be a source of immense tragedy. One of the most damning connections in Ernest's story was his association with William K. Hale, a wealthy white businessman with a vested interest in the Osage headrights. What made William K. Hale a prime suspect in the Reign of Terror was his intricate web of connections to the Osage victims. Many of those targeted had direct or indirect ties to him, whether through marriage or business relationships. These connections created an atmosphere of distrust and suspicion in the Osage community. Hale's motivations became increasingly clear as investigations unfolded. He was driven by a relentless desire to exploit the valuable Osage headrights and the oil royalties they generated. This insatiable greed led him to engage in a series of sinister actions, orchestrating a web of conspiracies to eliminate those who stood in his way. The FBI was established in 1908 as the Bureau of Investigation under the Department of Justice. Its initial focus was on investigating antitrust violations, white-collar crimes, and other federal offenses. Amidst the escalating violence and a growing sense of fear and distrust, the Osage tribe realized they needed help to put an end to this reign of terror. In their quest for justice, they turned to the federal government, seeking intervention to unravel the sinister web of conspiracies that plagued their land. The Osage murders were unique in that they involved the deaths of Osage tribal members on federally allotted land, which fell under federal jurisdiction. This allowed the federal government, through the Bureau of Investigation, to take the lead in solving the case. The federal government allocated additional resources to the investigation, providing the FBI with the funding and manpower needed to conduct a thorough inquiry. This was a significant departure from the limited resources and capabilities of local law enforcement agencies. In the year 1925, a pivotal moment occurred in the pursuit of justice. Edgar Hoover, the pioneering leader of the FBI, assigned a man by the name of Tom White to lead the agency's investigation into the Osage murders. This appointment marked a turning point in the relentless quest to uncover the truth. Tom White, a seasoned investigator with a reputation for unwavering determination and a commitment to justice, stepped into this challenging role. He embarked on a journey to Osage County, ready to face the daunting task that lay before him. Under Tom White's leadership, the FBI launched an investigation that would become one of the most significant in the Bureau's history. It was a grueling and exhaustive process, as agents combed through evidence, interviewed witnesses, and pieced together the complex puzzle of the Reign of Terror. As the investigation deepened, secrets were unearthed, and a tangled web of conspiracy was revealed. Those who had preyed upon the Osage people's wealth and exploited their vulnerabilities were now facing the relentless pursuit of justice. As the FBI delved deeper into the heart of the Osage Reign of Terror, they uncovered a web more intricate and sinister than anyone could have imagined. It was a web woven from threads of conspiracy, greed, and corruption, casting a shadow over the entire community. The Osage Nation's newfound wealth from their oil reserves had attracted the attention of outsiders, particularly oilmen and speculators who sought to profit from this wealth. Some outsiders would go to extraordinary lengths, even marrying Osage women, to gain access to their valuable oil headrights. It was a chilling realization that many of the murders that had torn apart the Osage community were not random acts of violence. They were, in fact, orchestrated with a clear motive: to gain control of the Osage headrights and the immense oil revenue they represented. This connection between marriage and murder was particularly disturbing. Outsiders, through their marriages to Osage women, not only sought to access the oil wealth but also manipulated these relationships to carry out heinous crimes, ultimately devastating the lives of their Osage spouses. The FBI's investigation laid bare the depth of this conspiracy, the extent of the greed, and the corrupt practices that had plagued the Osage Nation. Yet, it also marked the beginning of a journey toward justice, accountability, and the restoration of trust within the community. As the investigation into the Osage Reign of Terror continued, the pursuit of justice took a significant turn. Those who had orchestrated and carried out these heinous crimes found themselves facing the weight of the law. Among the accused was William K. Hale. Alongside him were several associates, including Ernest Burkhart, Molly Burkhart's husband. The trials that followed were a pivotal moment in the quest for justice. It was here, in the courtrooms, that the evidence was laid bare, and the accused were held accountable for their actions. In the end, justice prevailed. William K. Hale, once a powerful figure in the community, was found guilty of his involvement in the crimes. William K. Hale was sentenced to life in prison. Ernest Burkhart was convicted and sentenced to prison. John Ramsey was a rancher and one of the individuals who carried out the murders on behalf of Hale and the conspiracy. He was found guilty of multiple murders and received a prison sentence. Kelsey Morrison was another hired assassin involved in the murders. He was convicted for his role in the killings and received a prison sentence. These trials were not just about holding individuals accountable, they were about acknowledging the depth of the crimes committed against the Osage people. They represented a turning point in history, a moment when the Osage community and the broader society affirmed that such actions would not go unpunished. The Osage murder cases also served as a pivotal moment in the history of the FBI, elevating its status from a relatively obscure federal investigative agency to a more prominent and influential institution. The success of the FBI in bringing those responsible for the murders to justice garnered support from Congress, leading to increased funding and legislative backing for the Bureau. This support allowed the FBI to expand its operations and investigative authority. Anna Brown's tragic fate, along with the other victims of the Reign of Terror, serves as a sobering reminder of the injustices faced by Native American communities and the resilience of those who fought for justice. It is a story of how the pursuit of truth and the dedication of law enforcement can shine a light on even the darkest of conspiracies, bringing those responsible to account and offering hope for a better future.